Game 6 is Friday here in L.A. Interesting game for the Lakers tonight at Cleveland, LeBron's home area. LeBron's son Bronny was born in Cleveland on October 6, 2004, just 3 weeks before LeBron began his second NBA season with the Cavaliers. Bronny has not played in the Lakers' last 3 games. Lakers coach J.J. Redick may feel some pressure to put LeBron and Bronny on the floor together to satisfy Cleveland fans. 4 p.m. tip-off local time. The Clippers are at home tonight against Portland. The Clippers are looking for their first regular season home win in the Intuit Dome. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Feeding Our Friends on the Outside will be hosting its 15th annual Feeding the Homeless event in Greater Los Angeles on Sunday, November 10th from noon until at 11129 South Central Avenue in Los Angeles. If you would like to donate or volunteer, please call 310-981-6377 or email them at feedingourfriends05@gmail.com. feedingourfriends05@gmail.com. It's the 15th anniversary of Feeding Our Friends on the Outside, Sunday, November 10th from noon until 11129 South Central Avenue in Los Angeles. For more information, call 310-981-6377, 310-981-6377. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California. I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavisSmileyShow.com. That's thetavisSmileyShow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, as a black child, Gerald Walker was raised in a white supremacist doomsday cult. He was taught that the world would end in 1972 when he would be just 8 years old. So he never expected to actually see adulthood. Well, the world did not end in 1972, but that experience ruined his youth. Many years later, he would become a professor of creative writing, and today I am pleased to have him as a guest on this program to discuss his new text, Magically Black, and other essays examining black life and culture in America in ways I think that are both essential and humorous. Should be a fascinating dialogue, given his backstory with Gerald Walker, when we get to hour 2. In our third hour.
And here comes the Ali people out of the dressing room, and all of the questions will be answered. This is an awesome power of George Foreman against the violent boxing skills of Muhammad Ali. Here comes Ali. You can see him there very calm. If you saw the interview, there's no question on my mind, and I don't think anybody else's mind here at ringside, about the tremendous confidence of this tremendous athlete. It's age against youth. The experience of Muhammad Ali against the youth and brute force on blinding speed. You can hear the band beginning to strike up in the background as Ali moves to the ring. This is what Muhammad Ali lives for. This is the man's life. This may be a historic event. Muhammad Ali coming into the boxing ring for the last time. Should Muhammad Ali retire, this will be, what you're seeing now, a very historic event. Should Ali win the title tonight, it definitely is an historic event because he will have to definitely go down in the history of boxing as one of the all-time greats. His handler, Angelo Dundee, brings him in. And there you hear the sound of Ali Boumaier. That's what the local people say. And you can see Ali is getting a standing ovation from some 70,000, we estimate, in attendance here as he dances behind the American flag. Muhammad Ali will be gloved in the ring, as will George Foreman.
50 years ago today, in Kinshasa, Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Muhammad Ali and George Foreman faced off in the Rumble in the Jungle, an iconic boxing match that some historians still regard as the greatest boxing match in the history of the sport. Today, we look back on this historic bout with the noted boxing historian Mike Silver and the celebrity boxing trainer Terry Claiborne, who trained Denzel Washington to play Reuben Hurricane Carter and Jake Gyllenhaal for the movie Southpaw, amongst a long list of celebrity clients, a former pro boxer himself. In fact, later in Ali's life, the champ worked out at Terry's gym here in L.A. Mike Silver and Terry Claiborne on the Rumble in the Jungle 50 years ago today in our third hour. And speaking of fights, see what I did there? We're in the late rounds of Harris v. Trump. And so we begin today's show talking about the historic political fight with the CEO of both the 2008 and 2016 Democratic conventions, organizer, activist, political strategist, author, and faith leader Leah Daughtry. But first, here now some sound from Vice President Kamala Harris's big speech last night at the Ellipse in the nation's capital.
Thank you, everyone. So listen, 1 week from today, you will have the chance to make a decision that directly impacts your life, the life of your family, and the future of this country we love. And it will probably be the most important vote you ever cast. Look, we know who Donald Trump is. He is the person who stood at this very spot nearly 4 years ago and sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol to overturn the will of the people in a free and fair election. America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power. Donald Trump has spent a decade trying to keep the American people divided and afraid of each other. That is who he is. But America, I am here tonight to say that is not who we are. That is not who we are. Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table. We know what Donald Trump has in mind. More chaos, more division, and policies that help those at the very top and hurt everyone else. I offer a different path, and I ask for your vote.
Vice President Harris last night in what the campaign deemed her closing argument. You heard her there say that she does not see Mr. Trump's supporters as the enemy. But then her boss, the president, got all up in it and called Donald Trump's supporters garbage. And they've been trying to walk that back since he did that. Oh, Lord, it's going to be a fascinating hour with Leah Daughtry when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
My name is Anton Moore. Around here, we have hardworking people that just need a break. Whether it's investing in small businesses or making housing affordable, Vice President Harris gets it.
Kamala Harris is making sure black men have the tools to build generational wealth. She'll put a policy in place that gives 1 million forgivable loans to help entrepreneurs, including black entrepreneurs, start their own businesses. She also plans to give $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-time homeowners and crack down on racial bias in home appraisals. Harris's plan will help black men own more assets so we can build long-term wealth.
This is what an investment in my community looks like. We're trying to build generational wealth. No get-rich-quick schemes, no scams, no one-time check, none of that. Vice President Harris got our back. I'll be there on November 5th. Will you be there?
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
This truck season, think about all the things you can do in a Chevy truck. You can even just with impressive towing, incredible bed and tailgate functionality, and multiple powertrains. Chevy Silverado, the first ever Silverado EV, Colorado and Tahoe have what you need to get things done. When you want to do it all, Chevy's got you. It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups when you finance with GM Financial. Chevrolet, together let's drive. 0% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $27.78 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 9.3%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 10/31/24.
If you're facing an unexpected financial emergency, you need WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com can help you get up to $3,000 fast. Simply fill out the form and get an answer in 2 minutes. WeFixMoney.com is free to use, available 24/7, and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Trust the name you know. WeFixMoney.com. For emergency cash up to $3,000, type WeFixMoney.com directly in your browser. That's WeFixMoney.com.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
All right, I think the general consensus on Kamala Harris's closing argument last night was that she met the moment. That is the general consensus of all that I'm reading today, is that she indeed met the moment last night in her closing argument. And then the president got in the way, and here's what he had to say last night.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
So the only garbage I see out there are his supporters. Ouch. Remember Hillary Clinton and the deplorables comment? Hillary Clinton's a friend of mine and a friend of Leah Daughtry. And I thought about that last night. Oh, Lord, these October surprises. I thought Leah Daughtry, Bishop Leah Daughtry, I thought that the October surprise a few days ago may have been this Nazi rally we saw in New York City at the MSG, Madison Square Garden. I thought that might have been the October surprise. And Donald Trump certainly has been feeling the fallout about what happened that night at that rally and all the comments that the president just referred to about Puerto Ricans, et cetera, et cetera. And then the president drops his October surprise last night. I'm not sure how these things cut. First of all, it is good to hear your voice once again, Bishop Leah Daughtry. How are you today?
I'm doing good, brother. How you?
Man, if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I will tell you this though, and you've been at this as long as I've been at it. I will be glad when this thing is over. I have come. I've come. I hear you saying, "Woo!" I have come. I have come to be convinced, Leah Bishop Daughtry. I've known Leah for years. I want to call her Bishop Daughtry. I have known.
Leah's fine.
I have known for. I've said this for for months now. That what this Harris campaign has shown me, and again, you've run the Democratic Party and run these conventions. What this has shown me is that you can run an effective campaign with a much shorter runway. We don't need to stretch this out over 2.5, 3 years the way we do. My problem with this is that there's never a line these days, certainly in the House and the Senate, especially in the House. There's no line anymore, Leah Daughtry, between campaigning and governing. Campaigning and governing. The line is so blurred. The campaigning never stops. The governing never begins. Don't get me started on that. Anyway, it's great to hear your voice. Let me start with what you made of Kamala Harris's closing arguments last night, Bishop Daughtry, and we'll jump from there.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Always good to be with you. I was there in the crowd last night, and it was a moving moment. It was exciting. The energy was palpable among the 100,000 people who gathered. And, I was fortunate to be, third row center, so I had a very good...
That's because you Leah Daughtry, that's why.
Me and my colleagues, Mignon Moore, Donna Brazil, Tina Flanoy, Yolanda Caraway, they were gracious to have good seats for us.
Yeah.
And it was just the energy in the crowd. And, we were expecting 10,000, 20,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And then around about, mid-afternoon, you had to call the D.C. government and say we need to up the number on the permit because we knew the numbers. And as I was coming, traffic streets were closed and all of that. They finally wound up having to close one of the main thoroughfares in D.C. because the numbers of people who were just out walking to get to the ellipse was overwhelming, and in the end it was 100,000 people. But you were exactly right in your opening. She met the moment, and she clearly said, I know there are some of you who want to know more about me. And then she began to lay out her case. I was extremely happy that her speech struck the right balance of sharing with us what the dangers are of a Trump presidency, but really leaning into what a Harris presidency would look like and what the difference will be for the American people. And so she was spot on. She was fired up. She was presidential.
Yeah.
And I thought it was exactly the right thing, the right moment. And so I believe that those who were watching last night, those Americans who are finally paying attention, and who needed questions answered, got their questions answered last night.
Leah Daughtry ran a list of names a few moments ago, and there are really 5 or 6 sisters who really run things in Washington, and everybody in politics knows it, and they were all on that third row last night. I am honored to say that every one of them is a personal friend of mine over the years, and just to hear her run that list just takes me back to all the years ago when I started doing this 30 plus years ago and got to know them.
Wow.
And all these years later, we're still doing what we do. I mentioned earlier that you have been the CEO of 2 major Democratic conventions, so you know how this stuff works. Mignon, who you mentioned a moment ago, had that title, that role, sister CEO of the convention in Chicago, where I did this show live every day. So I love these sisters running these major Democratic conventions. It's a beautiful thing, and they do it with an amazing flair. What I saw last night convinced me yet again that not unlike Barack Obama, and this is not to suggest that I agree with everything they say, but I want to give credit where credit is due. Kamala does, in fact, it seems to me, have this capacity, this ability in these big moments to step up. She did it in the debate with Donald Trump. She did it in Chicago. She did it last night. And again, no different than Barack Obama, frankly, where they don't miss their moment. They don't miss the house. They don't misread. They step into it typically in these major moments, and they seem to deliver. Is that what you see from her?
Absolutely. I mean, she is someone, I've known her 20 years or so, and she is someone who studies, who prepares, who is insistent on having the time to study and prepare. So she wants to know every detail, every tidbit, every factoid, because that helps her make a presentation to people that is in fact something that is credible and that she can stand by. And so that's what we see when we see her step onto these big stages, is someone who has done the homework, who has done the prep work, who knows what she's talking about and can speak with confidence. And that's what you want in an American president as they are navigating this world, complicated and fractious as it has become, in particularly over the last few years. You need somebody who's going to step onto a world stage and understands, as they're dealing with world leaders, what really is at stake from the point of view of a world view, but also from a point of view of leading the United States of America. What are we talking about? There will not be gaffes. There will not be insults. There will not be mistakes of consequential nature, as we saw in the last presidency. Under a Harris presidency.
You were there last night, as you mentioned, in that crowd of tens of thousands of people, 100,000 people there last night. What did you make? I thought it was brilliant. But what did you make of the staging, the place, the ellipse where she chose to speak, and she laid on it that Donald Trump had stood at that very spot and did what he did, encouraging people, an armed mob, to go to the Capitol. But the staging last night was as important as anything she said. That's my read. What's yours?
Yeah, it was brilliantly done. Her team is absolutely first rate, and to stage it, the morning after pictures, you couldn't ask for anything better with the backdrop of the White House and the flags and the symbolic nature of being on the ellipse. The last time a president addressed a crowd on the ellipse was Donald Trump inciting followers to march up to the Capitol. So you saw the stark contrast that she was drawing in her speech was undergirded by the stark contrast of her presentation on the ellipse versus Trump's presentation on the ellipse. So it was and when you read literature, you have all of these overlays and underlays and building and crafting a story. But that's what we saw last night. It was extraordinarily well done.
Yep. She did her level best last night to try to not just urge, but indeed convince Americans to turn the page on division and fear. I want to play another clip from Kamala last night in just a second here. But I'm not so sure that, however eloquent she was last night, that a speech in this moment can convince Americans that now is the time to turn the page on division and fear. Your thoughts on that part?
I think that those who want to turn the page saw an opportunity to turn a page. There are some people, we just have to admit, in our country who are not interested in turning a page, who like things angry and fractious, and this is an environment that they thrive on, and so they're not interested in anything different. But there are millions of us who are sick of the discord, who are sick of the stress of it all, who are sick of waking up to find something else crazy that has happened. And you just want to go back, and for us as black people, I don't know that we're ever 100% at ease, given the racism that still permeates our country. But under the Trump years, I think our stress levels hit a fever pitch. And you just wake up and you don't know what crazy thing he said or what attitude he is taking for the day that unleashed and gave permission to all the things that we had thought were driven underground to suddenly come up out of the hinterlands and with all kind of racist and sexist and homophobic statements. And so, some of us are sick of it. Some of us want something different. Some of us are concerned about our children and what our children are hearing and seeing. Some of us don't want to go back to covering our children's ears when the President of the United States comes on TV. Some of us want something different, and we're ready for a new page. So let's turn the page. And then I think those of us who are ready were willing to hear that and could hear that. But we have to recognize there's some people who like the page the way, who want to stay on the same page.
Nope.
And those people will never see a way forward because the fractiousness serves them.
Yep. We're going to find out in about a week, maybe a week and a half,
yeah.
a week or two. It ain't going to be next Tuesday night, I'm certain. But we will find out soon whether or not, or how many of us at least, are really interested in turning the page on division and fear. Here now some more sound from Kamala Harris last night at the Ellipse in Washington.
It is time. We have to stop pointing fingers and start locking arms. It is time for a new generation of leadership in America. And I am ready to offer that leadership as the next President of the United States of America. I'll be honest with you, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but here's what I promise you. I will always listen to you, even if you don't vote for me. I will always tell you the truth, even if it is difficult to hear. I will work every day to build consensus and reach compromise to get things done. And if you give me the chance to fight on your behalf, there is nothing in the world that will stand in my way. And those who came before us, the patriots at Normandy and Selma, Seneca Falls and Stonewall, on farmlands and factory floors, they did not struggle, sacrifice, and lay down their lives only to see us cede our fundamental freedoms. They didn't do that only to see us submit to the will of another petty tyrant. These United States of America, we are not a vessel for the schemes of wannabe dictators. The United States of America is the greatest idea humanity ever devised. Let us fight for this beautiful country we love. And in 7 days, we have the power, each of you has the power to turn the page and start writing the next chapter in the most extraordinary story ever told. I thank you all. God bless you.
Yeah, I love Kamala, and that's what we disagree on, that hyperbole sometimes. I'm not so sure that America is the greatest story ever told. She keeps saying it. I don't like it, but that's just me. It's just not. But that message last night was aimed at a small sliver, I suspect, of undecided voters, and she did what she needed to do. And it's okay, I guess, to call Donald Trump a petty tyrant. He is a petty tyrant. It is not okay to undercut Kamala's message and spark a backlash inside the GOP by calling Donald Trump supporters, garbage. We'll talk about that part when we come forward. Leah Daughtry, Bishop Leah Daughtry, on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good. Yeah, man. Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Wall Street closed mixed, with the Nasdaq hitting a new record high. Shares of Meta and Alphabet advanced more than 1% ahead of posting their quarterly results. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 154 points, the S&P 500 added 9 points, and the Nasdaq rose 145 points. Western North Carolina received a $300,000 donation from Taiwan for Helene recovery efforts. Governor Roy Cooper expressed gratitude for the international support. The funds will go to the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund to aid nonprofits helping storm victims. Jennifer Lopez will join Vice President Harris at a Las Vegas rally on Thursday. The When We Vote, We Win rally is part of the Harris-Walz campaign's final push for early voting in Nevada. And Snoop Dogg is sharing when fans can expect his Missionary album. On Instagram, he revealed the project will arrive sometime in December. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month wraps up, remember to update your software to fix security issues that identity thieves exploit to steal personal info. And for comprehensive identity theft protection, choose LifeLock. Start your 30-day free trial today at lifelock.com/cybersafety.
Macy's Backstage has amazing deals on everything you need to refresh your wardrobe and home for fall. Get low prices every day on unique finds at Macy's Backstage today. Find a location near you at macysbackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers will try again tonight to get that World Series championship. The Yankees offense woke up Tuesday night in Game 4, 3 home runs, including a grand slam, 9 hits, and 5 stolen bases. The revival led to an 11-4 beatdown. The Dodgers are up 3-1 in the series. If the Dodgers don't finish off the Yankees tonight, Game 6 is Friday here in L.A. Interesting game for the Lakers tonight at Cleveland, LeBron's home area. LeBron's son Bronny was born in Cleveland on October 6, 2004, just 3 weeks before LeBron began his second NBA season with the Cavaliers. Bronny has not played in the Lakers' last 3 games. Lakers coach J.J. Redick may feel some pressure to put LeBron and Bronny on the floor together to satisfy Cleveland fans. 4 p.m. tip-off local time. The Clippers are at home tonight against Portland. The Clippers are looking for their first regular season home win in the Intuit Dome. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
He does indeed. Our guest is Bishop Leah Daughtry, who has had the honor of being the CEO of not one but two different Democratic conventions, and is just a powerhouse preacher, powerhouse leader, powerhouse activist, powerhouse thinker, powerhouse author. She is just a powerhouse. I'm looking at some breaking news right now from the New York Times. Let me read this, and we'll get to it in just a second. The Supreme Court allows Virginia to purge 1,600 voters ahead of Election Day. A divided court handed a temporary victory to Republicans who said the move was necessary to prevent non-citizens from voting, although studies have shown repeatedly that non-citizen voting is extremely rare that is. But the Supreme Court has allowed Virginia to purge 1,600 voters ahead of Election Day. This is the kind of stuff that scares you, right? This election tampering and election engineering, et cetera, put a pin in that for now. We'll come back to it. That decision just coming out moments ago. We'll get Leah Daughtry's thoughts about that in just a second. But for those who may have tuned in late and didn't hear this or didn't hear it last night, Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, gave an amazing speech last night, met the moment. Leah Daughtry, Bishop Leah Daughtry and I agree on that. And then the president unwittingly, unintentionally, I think, but he got in the way nonetheless. And here's what he had to say.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Bishop Leah Daughtry, is this ultimately much ado about nothing or an October surprise that could cause some damage, because Republicans they're pushing this clip out everywhere?
Well, unfortunate timing, and if you listen to Joe Biden, his words kind of always get a little bit garbled up and all of that.
Yep.
And so I wouldn't chalk it up. He given the relationship that he has with the vice president and the genuine affection that they have for each other, would never intend to do anything that would harm or derail her campaign. I just think the whole thing is kind of ironic, since he was commenting on a rally where they called everybody all kinds of names.
Mm-hmm.
The Puerto Ricans, the black people. I mean, the insults just kept coming at a rally that the Republican Party, the Trump campaign, hosted themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have become expert in turning these things around and getting us all to shift our attention. For example, last week General Milley said that Trump was a fascist.
Mm-hmm.
That's what his former his former chief of staff said the same thing, that Donald Trump was a fascist. So when a reporter asked Vice President Harris, "Do you agree?" and she says yes, then all of a sudden you got the Speaker of the House out front saying, "Oh my God, she's calling him a fascist." No, your people have been calling him a fascist.
Mm-hmm.
She just agreed. So now how do you now clutch your pearls to be so horrified that she said it when your own people have been saying it for months. So they can miss me with all of this outrage about Joe Biden, because if you really want to start calling the list of all the names that they have been calling all the people, starting when Trump came down that escalator, calling Mexicans rapists and robbers, then let's call the roll on who said what, when, where, why, and how, and then we can have a real conversation. But beyond that, they can miss me with it.
No, I ain't mad at you. They can miss me with it too. And to your point, it is bad timing, but it is. But let me just go there. And this ain't the first time I've said this over the course of my career. Obviously, there are in some ways, Republicans just politic better than Democrats. I'm sorry, Bishop Leah Daughtry. You and I are both strong Democrats, but they just politic better, and they know how to message better than Democrats. I'm going to say it again. For all the years I've been at this, Republicans still message better than Democrats. And so the fact that they've taken this and turned it, I'm covering it because it's what I do. It happened. I got to talk about it. But Republicans have taken this one statement by President Biden, as Leah Daughtry said, and have turned the whole apple cart upside down and got everybody talking about what he said and focusing on this as if that Nazi rally didn't happen a couple days ago. And so much more was said, to Leah's point then, that all of a sudden we've forgotten about over the last 3 or 4 days. But it really is masterful, Leah, at the way they do this.
It is masterful, and they've been doing it for years. And what the advantage that they have, well, advantage or disadvantage, depending on your point of view,
sure.
is that they are a pretty much a homogeneous party, and so they have a much easier time of getting everyone in lockstep on whatever the issue is. We have a lot of opinions. We have a lot of opinionated people. And so we don't always like to be told what to do. And so we will go off on our side with 29 different opinions about one thing, while they are repeating the same talking points over and over and over and over and over again, until they almost will have you believing it's fact. And so to your point, they are better at messaging. For example, the abortion thing is in terms of pro-choice and pro-life. The opposite of pro-life is not pro-choice. The opposite of it frames it in a way that if you're not pro-life, then you're anti-life. Well, who's anti-life? But just the messaging of that point, which has been going on since 1973, has always had the party, has always had the two sides in a defensive mode. Look, either you're pro-choice or you're anti-choice. That's the differential. It's not pro-life and anti-life, but the languaging, the messaging sets up an argument that becomes an argument of false choices.
Oh, no, they've been masterful at it. I mean, Frank Luntz, and I've known Frank for years, and we've had these debates and conversations. They know how to language, how to message. Leah mentions pro-choice as if the rest of us are anti-life. And I'm thinking of other terms. They coined that phrase, the welfare state, and they've used it remarkably well, the welfare state. They will not listen to them, they don't call it the Democratic Party. They call it the Democrat Party. They don't call it the Democratic Party. They don't want to give you that much. They will call it the Democrat Party, not the Democratic Party, because that makes a statement that we're for democracy and they aren't, although we are at this point and they aren't at this point. I digress. But their languaging and their messaging is quite brilliant. When we come forward, and let me just set this up right now, Bishop Daughtry, and I'm now deliberately calling you Bishop Daughtry because where I want to go. Love Kamala Harris, but I am bothered every time she says that America is the greatest story ever told. It is not. To my mind, as a person of faith, the greatest story ever told is Jesus. It ain't America. And you're a bishop, and I'm not nitpicking here, but I just don't like that particular phraseology, which leads me into a conversation with you, which we'll have when we come forward, about Kamala's faith. You are obviously a person of faith. You're a bishop. You know me. I'm raised Pentecostal. I'm a person of faith. Kamala is a person of faith. We both know her pastor. And yet in this campaign, she has not been so forward about her faith. And I wonder if that might be a mistake if she loses this, because there are a whole lot of people in the faith community writ large who are voting in this election who may have responded to an appeal if she'd been a little bit more faith forward, if I can put it that way. We'll talk about that part when we come forward with Bishop Leah Daughtry on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
My name is Anton Moore. Around here, we have hardworking people that just need a break. Whether it's investing in small businesses or making housing affordable, Vice President Harris gets it.
Kamala Harris is making sure black men have the tools to build generational wealth. She'll put a policy in place that gives 1 million forgivable loans to help entrepreneurs, including black entrepreneurs, start their own businesses. She also plans to give $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-time homeowners and crack down on racial bias in home appraisals. Harris's plan will help black men own more assets so we can build long-term wealth.
This is what an investment in my community looks like. We're trying to build generational wealth. No get-rich-quick schemes, no scams, no one-time check, none of that. Vice President Harris got our back. I'll be there on November 5th. Will you be there?
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Which superhero movie is this?
This is my favorite part, when they all come together in the name of justice.
You know, you could do that too.
Oh yeah? How?
What you just described is what happens when black folks vote.
Mm-hmm.
When we come together and vote using our power, we win and get leaders who will protect our rights, lower housing costs.
All right, let's go together.
Yeah?
I mean, we gotta unite in the name of justice.
And vote like our lives depend on it.
Paid for by NAACP.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks. With an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. You've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at nissanusa.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Bishop Leah Daughtry. I am told by said that Tavis, they're better liars. They are that too. The two things, my friend, whoever you are not mutually exclusive. Yes, they are better liars, but they are also better messaging. And their lying messaging has worked. Period. I don't know how you don't get that. Yes, they're better liars, but they're better messengers, and their lying messaging has worked. Deal with it. In Miles's ear, my board up. Enough of that. Back to our guest, Bishop Leah Daughtry. So, Leah, as I said a moment ago, I understand the politicking, not naive and not nitpicking here, but every time she says America is the greatest story ever told, it bothers me because, one, it ain't, and number two, it leans it for anybody undecided?
I think those who are genuinely undecided, and I don't know who they are or how they could be undecided.
I agree.
She took all of the what you often hear from these people when they pop up on these focus groups is, we can get to, and if you're still undecided, it won't be because you don't know and there's no information. It may be because of some other things that you. But it's not going to be, I don't have enough information. The information is there.
Yeah. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Bishop Leah Daughtry, we will try to unpack as quickly as we can this breaking story here about the Commonwealth of Virginia being allowed to purge just under a couple thousand voters from the rolls between now and Election Day. It's starting already, I should say, and you all saw the story a day or so ago, ballot boxes being blown up and set on fire. It's going to get tricky, I think, between now and next Tuesday. I digress for now. We'll continue with Bishop Leah Daughtry when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
My name is Anton Moore. Around here, we have hardworking people that just need a break. Whether it's investing in small businesses or making housing affordable, Vice President Harris gets it.
Kamala Harris is making sure black men have the tools to build generational wealth. She'll put a policy in place that gives 1 million forgivable loans to help entrepreneurs, including black entrepreneurs, start their own businesses. She also plans to give $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-time homeowners and crack down on racial bias in home appraisals. Harris's plan will help black men own more assets so we can build long-term wealth.
This is what an investment in my community looks like. We're trying to build generational wealth. No get-rich-quick schemes, no scams, no one-time check, none of that. Vice President Harris got our back. I'll be there on November 5th. Will you be there?
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Bishop Leah Daughtry, who ran the Democratic Convention not once but twice. Just an ultimate insider, and always delighted to be in conversation with her. She knows politics and Washington politics as well as anybody I know. So I got 3 minutes left here, Bishop Daughtry. This case is among a handful of election-related disputes to reach the Supreme Court in the final days before the election. I just hope we don't need the Supreme Court to get involved after the election. You were there. I was there. We do not want to repeat a Bush v. Gore with the Supreme Court choosing who the next president will be. So I hope that Kamala has a smackdown by multiple millions in the popular vote and can have an electoral college victory that ain't even close. Otherwise, we're going to be in for a hot mess with a Supreme Court that Donald Trump, as you know, helped to shape. This divided court today sided with Republicans, allowing the state, the Commonwealth of Virginia, to call about 1,600 voters less than a week before Election Day. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and this is an example of what we should all be expecting.
Mm-hmm.
There will be more cases that will get to the Supreme Court as the Republican Party, as the Trump presidency, the Trump campaign attempts to thwart the will of the voters. So we've seen a couple of cases so far, this Virginia one that just got handed down being the latest. There will be others. They are challenging Buck County in Pennsylvania, claiming voter suppression. There are going to be other cases, and we know that they have already set up a massive legal operation to begin to challenge the vote, and the vote hasn't even concluded yet. They are going to begin and watch for this, that before election night is over, they will declare themselves the winners.
Yeah.
And that will, even though Pennsylvania can't even start opening absentee ballots until after the voting has closed. Yeah. So we really won't have a result till Friday or Saturday when all of the states have completed their counting. But watch for the Trump campaign to declare victory in the middle of the day and attempt to put the Democrats and the Harris campaign on the defensive. But I want your listeners to know that we are ready. We are responding. We set up our operation. It's already set up, and we'll be ready to respond to each of these claims and each of these lawsuits, and have some lawsuits of our own, challenging some things of our own that we see on Election Day. So we've learned our lesson, and we are ready for the battle.
Somewhere I read Bishop Leah Daughtry put on the whole armor.
The whole armor. Every piece. Every weapon.
There you go. Get ready. Bishop Leah D. Daughtry is the national presiding prelate of the House of the Lord Churches, installed back in 2019, as I recall. She's a nationally recognized organizer, activist, political strategist, author, faith leader, and friend. Bishop Daughtry, always good to have you on. All the best to you.
You too, Tavis. Take good care.
All right, stay strong. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Wall Street closed mixed, with the NASDAQ hitting a new record high. Shares of Meta and Alphabet advanced more than 1% ahead of posting their quarterly results. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 154 points, the S&P 500 added 9 points, and the NASDAQ rose 145 points. Western North Carolina received a $300,000 donation from Taiwan for Helene recovery efforts.